I gotta say, one of the more bone-chilling episodes that we have gotten in Star Wars in quite a while, maybe never. I've seen many fans talk about how dark this episode in particular was, and how Andor as a series is just breaking all the Star Wars rules it could. I mean, this stuff is playing out on Disney Plus, which is very hard to grasp, really. For crying out loud, the episode starts with Bix getting tortured in the most craziest way ever. That's how the episode starts, actually. Dedra is torturing Bix for information, and the question that stomps Bix, or that's why she gets tortured at the very least, is when was the last time you met with Cassian Andor? Bix knew that she didn't want an answer, she wanted her to suffer, and lo and behold, the doctor performing the quote-unquote investigation would seem like VR goggles at first, but they were listening devices, and playing non-stop were children being tortured. I don't know if I can even say this on YouTube without getting the yellow mark, but I guess I just did. Again, it's crazy to think that this is actually playing out on Disney, and the screams of those children, the horror that she must have listened to, made her lose her ish in seconds. I'm talking in a couple of seconds she started screaming in pain, and by the end of it, when she came out, she was mentally frail. You could see it in her face. By the way, constantly in this episode, we got reminded of how great of a filmmaking these guys are doing with Andor. The editing cuts from Bix getting tortured to then the machinery getting worked on in Narkina 5 by Andor and the crew. All those things I really appreciate, and also many references in editing to the torture scene of Leia Organa on the Death Star. Back on Narkina 5 though, we sort of immediately realized that an older member of the crew, of Cassian Andor's crew, Olaf, is having a lot of difficulty performing his task and subsequently dragging the entire team's performance down. If you weren't impressed with Andy Serkis's cameo last week, then I gotta say that this episode completely was focused on Andy Serkis's character Kino turning slowly to the words of Cassian Andor. He seemed like a real hard-ass in the first episode that he appeared, but in the second one right now, we slowly started to realize that he has more of a human side and is trying to convey to his other prisoners, more especially to Cassian Andor, that they cannot fool around, that they will face consequences. This is even more compounded by the fact that while going to their cells, the crew realizes that the level 2 guys were actually all vaporized. They were killed because supposedly somebody made a mistake. He went from level 4 to 2, then in the end they realized that it was actually done on purpose, just not to let anybody out of the prison. Stuff went from bad to worse for the Imperial citizens. All across the galaxy, people are getting double, quadruple the sentence, and from the looks of it, they have ramped it up even more now. Nobody is apparently getting out, no matter how much of a long or short sentence you have. This is what Kino realizes in the end, and this is what makes his turn perfect. He was doubtful at first as Cassian Andor was trying to convince him and try to talk to him, but by the ending of the episode, he realized that there is no going back. This is it. The moment his 200-day sentence is completed, he probably will get killed or never leave the place alive. Parallel to all this, there is also the storyline with Mon Mothma. We revisit the Senate as Mon Mothma has the floor. However, as she starts speaking out against the Empire, everybody simply shuts her down, letting us know that nobody is really paying attention or dares to go against the Emperor and the Empire in total. I really thought this time around we would get to see at least Slymore or Masamita. We didn't get anything again. But by the time she was returning home, we realized that she has a cousin, and her cousin is, as a matter of fact, Vel, the same rebel from Aldhani that was helped by Cassian Andor. Citra, in the earlier episode, did mention that she was a rich girl. She insinuated, at least, and now we realize not only is she a rich girl, she is royalty. She regrouped with Mon Mothma. I assume the writers put this in only to let us know that Val is a character of importance. Even Kolma has started to be worried because he cannot actually do anything with Mon Mothma's account, and he suggests to Mon Mothma to get another Chandrilan banker in the mix, an underground person from what it seems, a guy by the name of Davos Kolma. Another thing which was creepy and awesome, I have to say, was the fact that Cyril is a creeper. He is a complete stalker. He went from being obsessed with justice or whatever, now he is actually following Dedra on her everyday walks to the ISB building, to the point where he stops her at one day, and you can see that Dedra is confused and a bit frightened by the guy. However, she immediately threatens him with lockup, but you can see Cyril's determination. Either he is falling in love with Dedra slowly, with her tenacity, or he is just obsessed with what Dedra can offer him. In his twisted mind, some sort of a justice. But again, the culmination of the entire episode comes when Olaf finally has a work-related accident. He actually has a massive stroke while on the working floor. Cassian tries to drag him, but in the end, he just collapses. They call a medic, and Kino and Cassian stay behind to look after Olaf. When the medic comes, we are made aware that Olaf is all but dead, and euthanasia is essentially given to him to just let him go calmly. Andor has sneakingly made a lot of things officially canon. Things that we know exist in Star Wars, but we now have seen them on screen. We have proof, and we have heard people talking about it. First it was sex. Bix actually had sex, and we didn't see any nude scenes, but we saw more than just cutaways or insinuations. Now we have heart attacks canon in Star Wars as well as euthanasia. So it's funny to see how what Andor brings to the table. The medic also lets the guys know what happened to the people on level 2, making it clear to both Kino and Cassian that there is no escaping this place or getting out alive, even if your sentence is finished. This is the point when Kino understands what Cassian is talking about. There is no going back. They have to go through with their plan of escape, as Kino finally lets Cassian know that there are 11 guards and never more than 12 on each sector. With the episode finished, I cannot wait to see what happens in the other episode, and again, they're slowly building to a gigantic climax. I can't wait to see the finale, but thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.